Caitlin Clark being frustrated. Caitlin Clark wanted to come back. Word on the street, front office, even Stephanie White said it down in Phoenix. She stated, we are worried about the long-term health of Caitlin Clark. That has been the topic. That has been all they worried.
Caitlin Clark, the superstar who dragged the Indiana Fever from laughingstock to playoff contention, has been benched. Not by injury alone, not by age, not by rivals, by her own organization. The very front office that owes her everything is now shutting her down during the most crucial stretch of the season. The official word is long-term health.
She probably felt as you came to this decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, number one, just all the injuries that she's had. Obviously, I wouldn't speak for her, but and the amount of work that she's put in to position herself to be able to play and then to, have to ultimately make this decision. There's disappointment. There's the obvious frustration that's come with not being healthy really for an entire season. But ultimately, I think the big picture is the most important thing, and those are conversations that we've continued to have. And the message has continued to be that it's not her long-term health and wellness and her being 100% when she's ready to go.
But fans aren't buying it. Why sideline the face of women's basketball right when the Fever finally have a shot? Why now when the doctors cleared her for practice? Something doesn't add up, and the whispers about betrayal are getting louder by the day. Clark isn't going quietly either. She's frustrated, she's vocal, and she's making it clear that no one benches her without a fight. This isn't just a player sitting out. This is a storm brewing between a superstar and the very franchise she saved.
Indiana Fever are having a tough time covering the tracks to the dirty games they played and screwing over the fans and sabotaging Caitlin Clark this season. Everybody is on to the dirty games that the WNBA and the Indiana Fever have played this season, manipulating the people and using Caitlin Clark for money and using her fans. Stephanie White has been exposed. Lexi Hall confirms that Caitlin Clark was ready to play and that the team made the decision to keep her out while she was.
The Fever punched their ticket to the postseason for the first time in years, boasting a winning record that fans thought was impossible before Clark arrived. And yet, the player who put butts in seats and forced the sports world to finally tune in to the WNBA won't be suiting up. Fans call it sabotage, critics call it a power play, and the organization calls it caution. But when Lexi Hull suggested Clark was ready, the narrative cracked wide open. She said Caitlin was cleared to return, training every day, prepared to play. Still, the suit stepped in and shut the door. Reports swirl that Clark was participating in non-contact practices, doing drills, hitting her shots, but the front office ruled her out anyway. The official excuse? Protecting her body for the future. The reality? It looks like they've wrapped the league's biggest star in bubble wrap and stolen her chance to compete on the biggest stage. This isn't about rest. This isn't about recovery.
Caitlin Clark not playing because she's hurt. She can't come back? Or is she not playing because the organization chose to bench her for the rest of the year? Because Stephanie White has come out and made some comments, and I don't like what I'm hearing.
This is about control. The more you peel it back, the uglier it looks. Clark isn't just another player. She's the reason the Fever are relevant again. For 7 years, Indiana was a ghost franchise, forgotten by the league, ignored by fans, buried at the bottom of the standings. Then Clark arrived, and everything changed. Suddenly, ticket sales exploded, arenas sold out. ESPN saw record-breaking viewership every time she touched the floor. Her very first matchup against Angel Reese pulled nearly 3 million viewers, more than NBA games airing the same week. Clark didn't just elevate the Fever, she elevated the entire WNBA. She turned a niche product into a must-see spectacle. She brought new fans, new sponsors, new money. She's the reason the league is buzzing, the reason anyone outside of diehards cares about women's basketball right now. And yet the league's golden goose has been forced to sit. Instead of letting Clark be Clark, the front office pulled the plug at the exact moment everyone wanted to see her shine. The timeline only makes the betrayal sting worse. In July, against the Connecticut Sun, Clark winced mid-game, clutching her groin before sitting with a towel draped over her shoulders. Fans worried it was serious, but the team insisted she was day-to-day.
Boots and revolutionized the game of pretend basketball. She turned this previously unmonetizable turd into a league that's getting dangerously close to losing their charity status. Because of CATLIN Clark, the WNBA is on the verge of generating pesos and profit for the first time ever. She brought mainstream attention to a league that never had a chance of breaking into the mainstream. She brought a new fan base. For the first time, people were actually willing to spend.
For weeks, that was the message. We'll reevaluate soon. We're being cautious. She's progressing. Meanwhile, Clark herself was grinding every day in the gym, putting in hours, doing non-contact drills, participating in shoot-arounds, begging for her chance to return. She never stopped working, never stopped preparing. But the front office dragged it out, offering no timetable, stringing fans along until the news finally dropped. Clark was done for the season. Not because she couldn't play, not because doctors said no, because the organization said so.
Come in that has not had this much impact on a sport since Tiger Woods. That is how big CATLIN Clark is. That is the global impact, and it's not just an American impact. That's the global impact that CATLIN Clark has had on this league. The amount of eyeballs, attendance, all of the things. We've been over all of it. It's the CATLIN Clark effect, Clarkonomics, whatever you want to call it. At this point in time, if you're still denying that, I don't know what to say. You're not living in reality. Unfortunately, though, there are still people at this point in time who are still denying that. When CATLIN Clark went out with injury in the beginning of the season, the viewership dropped over 50%.
But here's where it gets even messier: jealousy. The truth nobody in the league wants to admit is that Clark's meteoric rise didn't just lift the fever, it overshadowed everyone else. Veteran players hated the way she dominated headlines. Rivals bristled at the fact that one rookie was suddenly the center of the WNBA universe. While Clark's games broke records, others played in half-empty arenas. Whispers of resentment spread, and the so-called sisterhood of the league began to fracture. Fans believed this wasn't just about protecting Clark's health, it was about keeping the balance of power in check. The longer Clark sat, the more the spotlight dimmed, giving other players their chance to shine. Except it didn't work. Ratings plummeted, attendance slipped.
Feelings of jealousy. They resented her. They wanted her to go away. In this season, and especially over the last couple of months, WNBA players have gotten exactly what they wanted. After 2 years of claiming that the WNBA is about more than one player, unknown dump divers were finally given the opportunity to prove it. As expected, the end result has been huge, embarrassing failure.
And the league learned the hard truth. Without Clark, there is no show. And Clark herself? She finally broke her silence with a statement that cut deeper than any dunk or three-pointer ever could. She thanked the fans, praised her teammates, but not once did she mention the front office. Not once did she thank the people who made the decision to end her season. That silence said more than 1,000 words. She knows exactly who betrayed her, and she's letting the world know it too. Disappointment, frustration, betrayal, that's the mood among Fever fans.
Flat out, point blank, period. You guys have not been open and up front. You guys have talked about long-term health and wellness. You guys have not been up front with the injuries, with the injury report, with the timetable. You guys left this girl listed as day-to-day and questionable for months at a time. That is not being upfront with the people. It's not. It's not. It's not. You guys hid an injury, an ankle injury, for weeks. You guys hid an ankle injury for weeks.
They bought playoff tickets expecting to see their star. They tuned in for the highlight reels, the jaw-dropping moments, the Clark effect. Instead, they're stuck watching a playoff team without its identity, a franchise without the player who made it relevant again. The front office talks about long-term health, about future seasons, about protecting their investment. But fans don't want promises about the future. They want wins right now. They want their superstar on the floor, not wrapped in caution tape.
CATLIN Clark's message on her Instagram story. I miss this so bad. It's just a tough thing to process, I'm sure, for her as well. And then the way it went down, it wasn't like a sudden thing which in the long run is better, right? I mean, it's better that it wasn't an ACL or an Achilles or one of these injuries that's going to sideline her for a prolonged period of time. But the hope of her return, and then the ankle injury messing everything up in the process of that and making it so she couldn't return.
This isn't just a misstep, it's organizational arrogance at its peak. The Fever acted like they could win without her, like Clark was just one piece instead of the foundation. Now they're about to find out what happens when you clip your own golden goose's wings. You don't just lose games, you lose trust, you lose fans, you lose everything Clark gave you. Caitlin Clark deserved better.
Said too. Y'all want to know why Caitlin Clark said this? Because Caitlin Clark never wanted to sit out. Caitlin Clark wanted to come back. Caitlin Clark wanted to come back, and they're treating her like she's property. That's what the Indiana Fever is doing. She's their property now. And since Caitlin Clark can have to say on whether she can play basketball or not, which is completely damn me ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. If she could play and she want to play, let her fucking...
She carried this team, this league, and now she's forced to sit back and watch while others cash in on her hard work. Fans will remember it. Clark will remember it. And when she returns next season, the chip on her shoulder will be bigger than ever. They thought they were protecting their future, but what they really did was ignite a fire that's going to burn through the league. The Fever may have made the playoffs, but without Clark, their season is already over. The real story isn't the box scores or the standings. It's the decision to bench the biggest star in women's basketball. The decision to silence the very player who gave the league its voice.
In the playoffs, and by shutting down Caitlin Clark, it means that they fully believe that Caitlin Clark is not going to be an asset to this team, and they would rather go into the playoffs with Bree Hall on the roster than with a Caitlin Clark. And I don't know if it's a situation of, like, they would rather do that than go in with Caitlin Clark, and they would rather go in not have the headache of Caitlin Clark. It straight up seems that this front office, whether it be the coach down, they do not want the headache of constant Caitlin Clark questions.
The Fever front office didn't just play it safe, they played themselves. And when Caitlin Clark storms back next year with a vengeance, they'll learn the hard way. You don't sideline greatness, you don't cage a star, and you definitely don't bench the reason your franchise still exists. She is the show, the ticket, the spectacle. Without her, the Fever are just another team. With her, they're a phenomenon. That's the Caitlin Clark effect. And if the front office didn't understand it before, they're about to get a lesson in the most painful way possible.